Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn and the rest of your Blerdsassins Next Door. And that's Sonia, Otto, Cranston, and Nikki. And we are here on this lovely 2 what was it, 20, it's 2/22/2025. So it's February 22nd, 2025. Lovely Saturday. How are you? Tonight we will be talking about climbing Mammon's ladder and all these shows that we watch, television shows, films where greed is good. Um, First, before we get started, we will talk about the weather. So, Sonia, your top center
Hi.
square. So, how's the weather?
It was actually quite pretty today. We got up to a balmy 32.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know Wednesday in particular, we were actually warmer than you guys down in Texas in the South.
yeah, we were. It was cold. It was cold. And how about
Yeah.
no rain? Oh, but you had snow, right? You all got snow.
Today was the first day in 43 days we did not have any snow unless it was overnight. I didn't
Mm,
stay up long enough to see if it snowed overnight, but they've been keeping track. Yesterday we had 42 days of straight snow.
wow, wow.
So I think today was the day that record got broke.
Wow.
It's supposed to snow tomorrow, though.
Wow.
I'm trying to see right now, trying to call up my weather thingy to see what the temperature is right now. Because yeah, I went outside and went, it's warm. And I looked at the clock. It's 32 degrees. That was at about
Wow.
5. At 5. So
Yeah, because
now,
you all are so used to the cold now.
yeah, um, to the point where I had stuff in our garage to use as a freezer because it was
Mhm.
actually colder in the garage than in the freezer. Now
Wow.
it's 30 feels like 90 according to my handy little thermometer thingy here now. And
Wow.
supposedly it got up as high as 35, although I didn't feel that.
Well, I mean, you didn't feel it get high as 35?
Yeah. But it's what Monday it's supposed to get up to 43, so we'll see.
Good luck. Good luck. We were supposed to get up to what, 70 today? What did we get to, Otto? Do you remember?
Well, we got Sonia's 43 today.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
it's 43.
I thought we were supposed to get up to 70s this weekend, weren't we?
No, not
Next
till Monday.
weekend. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it
Not
was
till
this
Monday.
weekend. All right.
Not
They
till
were
Monday.
liars.
But you got,
Okay.
to take in today's 43. You
Mm-hmm.
got to remember that previous days it was like 12.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I should be pleased.
I was
I shouldn't
talking to
complain.
someone Wednesday at 11 o'clock your time, and she was under blankets and all that. I'm like, just how cold is it down that way? 14 degrees. And I looked up at ours. We were up to like 19. I was like, it's
Yeah,
actually warmer in Rochester than it is.
in Texas. I know it was really bad. And I mean, but we were, I don't want to say we were ready, but we knew it was coming. So
I had
it's
to go to
better.
work. I hated that shit.
Yeah, I know. It was very sad for you. So again, so you, Mister, you had to go to work. Why don't you talk about your weather? How was it for you?
What are you talking about? I just did.
Yeah,
He
but
said,
you said it's so bad. You had to go to work. I'm going to tell
Yeah,
you,
it's like
it
14
wasn't.
degrees.
It's bad. You had to go to work in that weather, but it was
Yeah,
worse because I took you.
yeah, but you didn't
That
have to
was
stay in and
worse.
at work.
I did not want to do that
And then,
because it was bad.
I did. I had to
What?
go to a government. I had to go sit in a meeting in a government building where they have the air conditioning on.
You lie.
I do not lie.
They had their air conditioning on.
Loud
Oh my god.
and
they did
forcing
that.
it.
Yeah.
They just wanted you all to leave. They just they just said, look, if we turn
It
on the
wasn't.
air
It
really
was a short
high,
meeting. It was a
yeah,
short
yes, all right, we'll
meeting.
keep that meeting short and you all get the heck up out of here. Okay, and how about you, Cranston? How was your weather?
It has been well. I don't know. Whenever I hear Sonia's report, I always say maybe if I had been born there and we didn't have maps, I wouldn't leave or something like that. But
Yeah.
it hasn't been as bad as that, but it has
Hmm.
been. We've had lows in the 30s all week,
Wow.
and it's only gotten up into the like lower 60s. but it was sunny, so it was a sunny freezing time to be out. So it hasn't been as bad as snow, but bad enough.
Oh, wow.
Well, I want to say something, Penelope, to the Southern people.
Yes.
Sun does not mean warm.
Yes, it's true. Sun does that because not
It
it's
could be
sunny and
12
cold.
degrees and sunny, and you need
And yep,
sun does not mean warm. How many times I had to explain that to people?
I don't know. They just don't get it. Those people who don't know that you go out in the north and it's snowing and it's bright, bright sunny. You have to wear your sunglasses and everything 'cause it's so sunny, but it's cold as cold can be. Yeah. I remember that, realizing that when I was a kid. I remember being like third grade, standing out in the playground, and it was so sunny and it was so cold. And I'm thinking, the sun, you're doing nothing. You're doing nothing up there. It was just ridiculous. So, how about you, Cranston? How's your weather?
Oh, just it's been cold all week. It never got down to freezing,
Hmm.
but it was in like I think 35 was the lowest that it got. So
Wow.
that was bad
Wow.
enough. So yeah.
Yeah. Enough to make you uncomfortable.
Yes. Well,
I get it.
anything below 70 is enough to make me uncomfortable now, but
Oh, okay. How about you, Nikki?
Mm. Yeah. Mm. Well, my weather here, it's cloudy and 66 degrees.
Oh man, I could live with that.
Yeah,
I could live with 66.
it's
Yep.
nice.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
That'd be very nice. I mean, the thing is, in all honesty, it was warmer outside than it was in our house.
mhm.
Oh,
Because it just held all that cold, because the interior hallways, nothing, no sunlight hits it, because it's just, the interior halls. So you walk out in the interior hall and it's just cold, because the rooms are heated, but the interior hallways are not. So
That's what
it's,
everybody here has been doing is that they had heaters, like personal heaters on in their
yep,
rooms, on the
yes,
blanket.
yep,
They were wearing the warmest stuff they can find other than
yes,
like
yes,
overcoats and anything. So yeah, it's
yeah. But those hallways, so you walk out there and you can see your breath
yeah.
walking the hallway to the bathroom. So, but I'm still not going to heat that hallway. The ceilings are too high, and all it does is, just it's just hallway, and the heat goes up, and it's not heating anybody. So no, that's not getting done. So great. I'm glad you have nice warm weather, Nikki. We're very happy for you.
okay.
All right. So
She
tonight,
doesn't sound
yeah,
convinced.
yeah. She said, well, you know
Six.
why? Which I'm going to tell you why she sounds like that. No, I'm not going to tell you why. Nikki, you
Mm,
tell them why you sound like that tonight.
I got no sleep, people.
And why didn't you get sleep, Nikki?
I was listening to music
And
last night,
and
and by 3 o'clock, out 3 a.m., I was done listening to music. I said, I'll go to bed now. Had the TV turned off. But I like to read those Reddit stories or listen to them on Facebook. And I said, I'll listen to a Reddit story before I go to bed. And by the time I really looked up, the sun was out.
she's all night listening to Reddit stories and music. And I talked to her like today in the afternoon, and she's saying, "Oh, and I didn't get any sleep." And I was listening to Reddit stories. I said, "You need to go to sleep now and take a nap because you're going to go to sleep in the show." And I already hear it. You're going to go to sleep, aren't you?
Yes.
She's guaranteed.
Ah,
So what? Wait, hold up. What kind of music was she listening to?
You know who I listen to, Otto. You know who
What
I
was it?
listen.
Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Yep, from 8 o'clock to like 3:30.
They ain't got
wow.
that much music to be playing
They
that
have a
long like
long,
that.
big, huge discography.
They
Yeah, you
do.
listen to every
Yeah.
damn song.
Mm-hmm.
Each and every one.
Practically.
You ain't
Practically.
try to save none of the music for later on. And that,
Mm-mm. I just listened to the same thing tonight.
damn.
Now, do you listen to it in like album order or just whatever you put your hands on and I just start there?
Whatever I put my hand on.
Mm.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, when you get ready to, leave us, at least say goodbye and not just,
Goodbye.
She's not gonna
See,
say
I'm
goodbye.
getting
already?
sleep. Yeah, I'm
She gonna
sleepy.
fall
All
off.
right. Great. Great. All right.
I'll
Have a
talk
good
to
rest.
I'll talk to everybody next weekend. I'm
Yeah,
going to sleep
wonderful.
real.
That was exciting.
All right.
That was exciting as anything I've ever heard before in my entire life.
Good
You got to
night.
be
Yay.
joking with me.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
All right. And tonight we're going to be discussing climbing Mammon's ladder. And of course, it's about all the different films, television shows, etc., with all these people who are climbers. Our Gordon Gecko, Greed is Good, individuals, our uh, Alex P. Keaton's, pushing against, his left-leaning parents, anything of that nature that comes up with these people who are, climbing the ladder. And basically how many of these shows came up during that period when I guess most of us thought we were leaning in the direction of more inclusiveness with regard to money and people uh being less selfish. I mean, I don't know, when was it that we started the quote unquote me generation? When did that start? So I guess it's that, the start of the me generation,
The
you know?
80s.
Yeah, in the early 80s, right?
Mhm.
So that's where we are. We're going to talk a little bit about those types of shows, films, and I guess what we at first looked at to be this horrific thing, and then people started to embrace it, and then we also get the pushback of people showing that this mindset is actually kind of perverse, i.e., American Psycho. And so I want to just go ahead and talk about a little bit of this. And if anybody wants to jump in first, um, Cranston.
Well, I would say that it started with a subgenre that we really didn't pay attention to, and one that absolutely mystified me. And that was always looking at how the other half lived. And it goes back to, I think there were two of them about the same time, but the one I remember best was Upstairs, Downstairs, because
Mhm.
I knew all of these people that absolutely loved that show. And I never could figure out, okay, maybe it was compelling drama and fantastic
Mhm.
costumes and outstanding acting, but I could not understand how Black people could be so invested in a show about rich English people. I mean, what
Mhm.
possible connection do you have to that at all? But that was the thing, is that people loved the show, and it seemed to have these hidden message that everybody knew their place. The people who lived, I guess they were the upstairs people who lived for the haves, and everybody was not only happy that they have, but they seemed to have no problem with the fact that they did not have and would not have, but they had that kind of loyalty to their people. Flash forward to the current show. And I don't know if it's still in production or got held up during the writer's strike
Mhm.
and the COVID lockdown and everything, but it was The Gilded Age on HBO,
Mhm.
which is a show that if you watch that show, you end up screaming at the television, why aren't they out hanging these people off from lampposts somewhere? Because these are rich people who are the 1% of the 1%, who
Mhm.
absolutely have no regard for anybody who works for them. They're almost like Hetty on Ghosts, who always talks about all of the accidents in their factories and how there were sweatshops and workshops and they had no problems with it. I think one of her best lines was she said that one of the foremans in one of her factories was 12 years old. So don't talk about what, children can do in child labor. But
Wow.
You said foreman?
foreman, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 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 they had absolutely no idea with exploiting people, and felt no guilt about it. They just figured
Mhm.
it was their lot in life, and that's what happened. And you look at the Gilded Age, and you see these factory owners who walk around wearing like tuxedos in the middle of the day, and they dress for dinner and everything like that. And they're against unions, they're against organized labor, they're against and against you not dying on the job or something like that. And and it's absolutely, it's like everything is exploitation. It's
Hmm.
exploitation so bad it almost makes slaves say, they're really suffering and stuff. That's so bad. And so
Wow.
it's been that kind of thing that for some reason, the underlying thing is though that people who will never live in that world identify with the people who do, probably because they figure that somehow or other, if you believed all those Horatio Alger myths and that kind of thing, that you too will be divided in Mar-a-Lago one day and stuff, if you
Hmm.
can do that. And it's that thing that's considered that the highest aspiration you can do as a person is not become a better person or to do things for other people or to find some in or something like that. It's to get rich and get money. That's it. They never say what they're going to do with that money other than buy a lot of stuff that they really don't need
Hmm.
or definitely don't need or anything like that, or stuff that other people can't afford just to do that. But it's always been that kind of thing that people have always looked at people who people of achievement and people who were contributing to society, not because they actually did anything, but just because they had a bunch of money.
Hmm. Wow.
So at what
I've never
age?
seen any of those shows. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it worked.
What age would people stop believing in Horatio Alger? I could believe, if you're you know, a young person and then you go to college and then you start out getting jobs and then you reach middle age and then like maybe you at that point you got to say this Horatio Alger thing is not working. I mean,
Mhm.
Well, I think what it is, it kind of morphs into the other thing that does it is the belief in, they call it the religion of prosperity, like all of the we're not going to call any names in case some of these people are people that you actually listen to, Joel
Mhm.
Osteen. But the idea is that you will still achieve a lot, except they substitute
Mhm.
working hard for believing and tithing hard, that will help you achieve, some measure of success. And so it just morphs that way and stuff. That you get a small business loan and open up a business and everything. And the next thing you know, they still do it with those things. There's a
Mhm.
commercial about this young woman comes on and says that it's hard to get a brick and mortar store in Harlem because, the
Mhm.
rents are so high and everything. But if you work hard and you do this and everything, and and whatever financial thing that she used to achieve it, you will be successful. So we still have it. We just change it. It's just that instead of having Horatio Alger give you this thing about working hard, you have to believe if you work hard enough, you will succeed. And if you don't succeed, then obviously you're not working hard enough.
Right. Okay.
wow. Yeah, I saw that commercial.
Mhm. Yep, I would say, that's is she being aspirational toward having a thing which she believes is fun for her and something that does something for other people, or is it just I'm going to own my own business? Do you think it's more like that? That look at me, I have my own business, and that's the point of it.
It's a DEI obligation that they no longer have. So it's like the bank had a DEI obligation. They're not going to play it anymore probably.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the bank. I'm talking
Hmm.
about the concept of being aspirational.
Well,
Is it money, or is it having a business? Is there a status associated with, like you say, having a business?
I think what it comes down to is the idea is that because all of these businesses are things that are like beneficial to people, like better health and
Mhm.
this kind of thing. So it's like you are helping people live better, healthier, more fulfilled lives, and getting paid for it. So I'm getting paid for it, but I'm giving a service. So it's like
Yeah,
it's
but
like paying it forward at the same time at 10% interest or whatever.
I'm asking even the other question is, if I were working at her Pilates salon and making a good living, is that the same as owning it? Is owning it in and of itself a part of that aspiration? Like when you were saying people watching upstairs, downstairs, and
Mhm.
somehow trying to or believing that they can identify with more of the upstairs people because that's what they aspire to be the business owner, the people who treat everybody. I don't even have to treat anybody badly, but you have to be the one in charge. Do you think that that's part of that aspirational thing? I mean, we look at something like, for instance, American Psycho. I don't think anyone in that film who was working in whatever type of house that was, I don't think anybody was trying to be the head of the place. They are just trying to make as much money, be seen in all the right places, wear all the right clothes, listen to the right music, drive the right car. Um, I mean, I gather everyone has seen American Psycho,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and they're
So
doing a remake.
I don't know why, but okay. I would be shocked if somebody could do it any better. But I mean,
Mhm.
it's it remains to be seen. So I mean, Otto, since you are a big American Psycho fan, well, what do you think? Do you think that the ultimate goal for them was just, to I mean, if, in fact, if we go back and liken it to the Gordon Gecko, the greed is good thing, they're trying to make the money, but they were never really trying to be in charge. Do you think?
Well, I guess it depends on who you talk to. I mean, a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
like to have that term entrepreneur next to their
Mm-hmm.
name, so that there's that class of people,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a certain class of people that always say that they're entrepreneur. I'm not sure if they know what it means. I'm not sure if I know what that means. But there are a bunch of there are a bunch of other people who are just happy to get $100,000 bonus at the end of the year and make over $500,000 a year. They're cool with not being the main person because if you stick your head up too high, you'll get it shot off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it depends.
Well, I remember there was a line once on Billions, which is another one of those shows that sort of
Mm-hmm.
shows this kind of thing. And somebody was saying about they got like $100,000 or something like that. And one of the other characters walked by and laughed and said, it's so cute the way you talk about that, like that's real money, and just walked
Mm-hmm.
off.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I mean, you got a lot of shows like that about greed. You got
Yeah.
Succession.
Yep.
You got Industry,
Mm-hmm.
the show Industry, HBO
Yes.
show. And so it celebrates this idea of being greedy and really rich, and it imitates real life because you had some Wall Street people that either committed suicide or just
Mm-hmm.
died of heart attacks in real life. And so that's the new, I guess that's a new template. I guess it's the way to go. And I think to me it started, not started, but it's like it was made cute by the
Mm-hmm.
Alex P. Keaton character in Family
Mm-hmm.
Ties, because I
Yeah.
remember that show because I'm a big sitcom fan. I remember that show, and in the beginning, the show was about the parents. Two
Yeah.
260 liberal parents and how they were coping with, the new age of the '80s,
Mm-hmm.
so to
Yeah.
speak. And then Alex, the Michael J. Fox character, just took over the show. People just fell in love
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's because this was during the height of the first Reagan administration. And people have that sort of thing that here's the thing with the idea of trickle down economics, that if the people above you make money pretty soon and stuff, it'll be your turn and stuff. That it's like they say the rising tide raises all boats and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. And the idea is that you can be a part of that if you. It's sort of like the Horatio Alger thing about you doing it on yourself was morphed into if you buy into somebody already successful, you will make it as that. And the thing is, though, is that, and the thing is that keeps poor people being poor, is that poor people do not think of money the same way rich people do. And I remember there was this big thing where the Hunt brothers, who were the owners of I think one of the original owners of the Kansas City Chiefs, had
Yeah.
tried to do some sort of financial short shenanigans to corner the silver market. And they invested their own money into it, and they ended up losing $1 billion
Mhm.
in this thing when it didn't work out. So a reporter asked one of them, well, how can you lose $1 billion? And this was back in the days when $1 billion was real money,
Mhm.
and you just don't end up, like killing yourself or something like that. And that's when the guy said, the name of the game is power. Money is just how you keep score.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, people attach something to being a business person. I mean, you hear people talk about the current president being a businessman. He's a businessman. He knows what to do. He's a businessman. But nobody said he's a good businessman.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody
He
said
was a
he's really
terrible
good at it.
businessman.
He
He was
managed to
a terrible
bankrupt
businessman.
managed to bankrupt
I
casinos.
remember
Yeah,
he had
really.
he had listen, he had when you guys remember the USFL that
Mhm.
used to
Yep.
Yep.
exist, and they sued the NFL for trust violation, and it was teed up. It was a beautiful case, right? And it was almost the same as the NBA versus the ABA. If anybody remembers the ABA, and then
Mhm.
the
Hmm.
NBA absorbed the ABA. So the USFL teams wanted to be absorbed by the NFL
Mhm.
and not have to pay the huge franchise price for being in
Mhm.
the NFL. So Trump sued and he won, but he forgot to ask his lawyer. Him and his lawyers forgot to ask for damages, so they
Mhm.
were awarded damages of $1. And so in these cases, you get treble damages. So his $1 was multiplied by three, so he got $3.
Well, this is the
Okay, it
thing
was
about the NFL. In some ways, is like the mafia, except they're more cutthroat.
Ah.
And the real thing behind that was that's behind the thing is most of the decisions made in the NFL have to be voted on by I think at least like something like 30 of the 32 members in order for it to carry over. And Trump wanted to be an wanted an NFL team, and the other, and I think that time it was only 28 teams decided that no, we don't want him in our club. And that's what that was all about. They just didn't want him. So he helped spearhead the NFL, the USFL. His team was, I think, the New Jersey Generals or
the New
whatever.
Jersey Generals, and it was
Mhm.
And
teed up for
Herschel Walker was his big acquisition because everybody thought he was going to go into the NFL, but no, he went to the USFL. I think Steve Young has started out in the USFL and so forth. And the NFL says no, we're not going to absorb any of these teams. They did take some of the players, but no, they were not going to let them join that club under any circumstances, and they weren't going to let him in under any
Mhm.
circumstances.
Yeah, and that's a good businessman. But being a businessman, like being Alex P. Keaton on Family Ties,
Mhm.
he's cuddly, he's greedy, yes, but he has a heart of gold. You know,
Yeah.
he's
Mhm.
he's greedy, but he has a heart of gold. So tell me who in the Reagan administration had a heart of
Mhm.
gold?
Yeah.
And if you watch that show, they kept talking about his Alex P. Keaton's hero was William F. Buckley. You know,
Hmm.
and so it's like humanizes someone who's on the brink of not being an actual human being. So it's I think to me that's where it started.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I think it could have been the family ties and the Reagan administration could have been Trump, the analog version of Trump, in that it was basically just, I mean, when you find out all of the stuff that actually went on during this administration, between that was the beginning of union busting and deregulation, again,
Yeah.
air traffic controllers. That this was when the whole thing about I don't know if they were Iran Contra. That was Bush the first who was Iran Contra, but it was
No, that was
also
Reagan.
That was
That
Reagan
was Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
because Bush was
all,
supposed to be in charge of all of that.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
there were all sorts of shady dealings that were going on and everything that were like probably criminal. There
Yeah.
was a whole thing about using about the CIA using literally using drug trafficking as a way of raising money,
Crack. Crack.
things
It was
like
crack.
that, and it was that. But the thing was that they had a front man who was Reagan, who was lovable and sociable and
Mm-hmm.
folksy and everything like that. And you felt that he was that was the original daddy's home, and he's going to look after you, and that
Yeah.
is what they went behind. And so it was like he was telling you that we're doing these things and we're doing it for your benefit. And this was the end of the Cold War, which would have ended anyway without us trying to outspend them and everything. But that's what gave people this warm feeling that you were being protected, and all of these things were for your benefit, and this kind of thing. It was also the beginning of the myth of the welfare queen and all this other kind of stuff too.
Well, this is greed is good. Remember that
Yeah,
from Wall
Yeah.
Street?
Mm-hmm.
Greed is
Absolutely.
good, and so people watch the movie, and I think they missed the point. Everyone
Yeah.
wants to be Gordon Gecko. Even the style shirts and clothes that Gordon
Mm-hmm.
Gecko wore in Wall Street, people wanted to emulate that.
And it was
I don't.
reflected in American Psycho.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That.
American Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. The craziest thing that I
He's
remember.
actual psycho. He was a
Mm-hmm.
psycho.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
He
not
was.
doing it spoilers, but the dude actually, he was a serial killer.
Yeah. Because he was crazy.
But the thing was that all of his friends were only like half a step away from being him. I remember that one scene that was so absolutely insane was at the luncheon they had, and they were comparing their business cards, and whoever had the best business card, that was the one that had won that particular little competition for the day. So it was all about surface. It wasn't. You did not have to have anything of substance going for you. If you just looked as if you had
Yeah.
something of substance going for you, that was what the ultimate goal was.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's like you looked at somebody, you could
Penelope-
know, you know exactly what they were wearing. You look and the weave of the shirt, what company
Yeah,
that is, the jacket. I mean, but and I have to say, back in the late '80s, when we could do that. I mean, because so you know what they're wearing.
Mm.
I mean, our things like you can imagine how much time we had our office choosing our business card, and it was quite prime. It was a gorgeous business card. So, with people licking their wallet, and they say, they know it's you, man. Everything it's all like laid out, pulled together, But that was part of it. It wasn't just that you could do the work; it had to look the part. So, but some people then they got to the point where all it was looking the part and not the work itself.
Well, the other thing was it was a dividing line because with the city, if you were considered in an administrative position, you got a business card.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were of a clerical person, you didn't get a business card.
Hmm.
So that's what would happen. So somebody asked you for your card, you would grab a piece of scratch paper and put down all your information. But if you were a librarian or one of the administrators and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you had a nice big box of business cards, and of course,
Yeah, there you
you
go.
have promotion. They reprinted you new cards and everything. So
Cool. Um, I think about, we talk about these one set of films and television shows that were people who are like up here at this top tier thing, but then you have the ones that are aspirational, like what is it, Working Girl. She's trying to make her way up, be with the right people, wear the right clothes, in order to make her move. And again, that is also another kind of aspirational thing, and we look at it like, oh, she's clever and all this because she is pretending basically to be her boss in
Yeah,
order to try to get this deal done.
right.
So, that's we look at the story, oh how cute, oh how clever, but in real life, yeah, I remember, who was that who had done that, not the boss, but remember, who was it, oh, what is his name? Who got put in jail for
Madoff.
on the scheme, Madoff, that he invited someone to his office, and he was in the office. He could give the person's card, and the person was supposed to meet his office, but it wasn't his card, and so he was at the person's office trying to pretend to be them,
hmm.
you know, in their office. The person's like, "What are you doing in my office?"
Well, the thing is that stuff like that
Mhm.
is fake it till you make it kind of
Mhm.
thing,
Yeah.
and it's it's all of that stems from this
Yeah.
this like conservative approach to being rich. It's like there's certain things I'd rather not be, right?
Yeah.
And there's a political party that you rather not be. It's all about branding. There's a specific skin color you rather not be.
Mhm.
There's a sex you rather not be.
Mhm.
There's a schools you rather not graduate from. All these things are lumped into things I'd rather not be.
Yeah.
And I think that, especially with a lot of people who are new to the country, who are immigrants to the country, the
Mhm.
things they would like to be is Alex P. Keaton, or they like to be the people in Succession, or the people in the American Psycho who didn't kill, you
Yeah,
know
the ones who did kill or weren't killed.
or weren't
You
killed. Right,
know, weren't killed. Yeah.
right, right. There's
Well,
a
I,
there's an aspirational thing about it.
well, I
Yeah.
think it's what this country actually started with, because the first thing that happened was, they told all of these Europeans decided to say, okay, this is a land that you can claim. You can't claim over here because Lord,
Mhm.
whoever this is, has this land, but you can get this land over here by displacing these people who have been there for over 10,000 years. And when the country was set up, that all of the people who were the ones that founded this country were considered the not only the financial elites, they were business people or whatever, but they were also considered the intellectual elites. And you couldn't vote initially unless you owned property. Whether their property was going to be like land or people, that said that you could vote. And the
Mhm.
thing is that you looked at all of these people and said, well, what's the difference between me and them? And the difference is, well, they own land and they own me, and I don't own anything. And so it was always aspirational that way, that you figured if you could work hard enough, you would be up there with them. But then, as now, even if you do get the material trappings of this stuff, they're still not going to let you into the club. You're still going to be
Mhm.
a member with an asterisk next to your name. So
Which is kind of like the what is it, the film Boiler Room?
yeah.
They're traders, and they it's like, but you look at them, you see the suits don't fit so well, and it's
Mhm.
the office space is like not so hoity-toity, but they're aspirational nonetheless. Trying to
Yeah, I
to make
mean,
that move.
because they could say that they work in stocks or something, but they're
Mhm.
working they're like Donald Trump. They're someplace in Queens,
Yeah.
so they're not really on Wall Street. They're not really with
Mhm.
the big financial houses like Goldman's or J.P. Morgan or something like that.
Right.
So but regular people hear that, they're impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's like when you see the film, it's really interesting when you look from something like, American Psycho, how they're dressed, where they go, and then to look at this in a boiler room, how, it's kind of, like I said, among, quote unquote regular people, they may look like they've got it together, but
Yeah,
those individuals who are in the business look at them and like, you know, you're not wearing
but
the
people
correct
who don't
uniform.
know,
Yeah.
but no, do you
Hmm.
understand? People who don't know, if you're new to the country and you looking
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
from the outside, the boiler room people look like the people that you want to be, right?
Right. Right.
Because it's Saturday Night Fever, you
Yes.
know, with the John Travolta character, you know, his hair. He looked. I mean, it was oppressive to someone in Indiana, right?
Hmm.
Who looked like he looked at John Travolta, looked at that cat, Vinny. What was his name? I forgot his name. What's
Tony
his cat?
Manero.
Tony
Yeah.
Manero, right? So
Hmm.
he couldn't get a job on Wall Street with that
Hmm.
haircut
And those
and those
clothes.
clothes.
No.
And even if you put him in a Brooks Brothers suit, you still with that haircut.
Yeah. He's
You
not.
just you can't. That's a queen's haircut, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're a new person coming in from the, outside, I mean that looks like something you want to be.
Right.
You want to be
Right.
that. You don't want to be, like the people in New Jack City or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
You don't want to be that.
No matter how much money they have.
No, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
No.
That's not. There's your status. You have not
Right. I don't
made
want to
it.
be good time. I don't want to be good times. I don't even want to be Jeffersons. I
Yeah.
want to
Okay.
be
Yeah. Those
Yeah, I
people.
want to be, the Alex P. Keaton. I want to be Alex P. Keaton. I don't want to be his parents. They're liberal, but they're kind of sad and like losers, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
But that's how they paint it. Now, the first season, it wasn't just like they're just parents, and these are their
Hmm.
their cookie kids. And then, as the seasons wore on, then it became, like you said, the Alex P. Keaton show. The greed is good. It's funny, tee and he's nice brother, you know, who
And he had a counterbalance to his parents. I think his parents worked at, like, I think his father and mother, maybe both of them worked at a public broadcasting
hmm
station or something. And
yeah,
that was painted as so sad. How sad that is, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Yeah, they first, they were like just normal parents, cool, but then they started to make them. It's not that they're speaking and you're listening to them, so you're being dismissive of them, and then not listening to them at all. Then they don't get talk. They got no lines.
Right,
Um.
but it's the angst that I
Mhm.
think a lot of 60 hippies had, right?
Mhm.
With being
Yep.
hippie and being progressive, and
Mhm.
then really wanted to make, at a certain point in their lives, wanting to make some money, and that was the juxtaposition
Yeah.
that and they were having it in real time. And I think that those shows like that did a lot of damage
Mhm.
to people, because the liberal brand, I got to tell you, the liberal
Was
brand
eroded. Yeah.
is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And the think about it this way: you have a child who's Alex P. Keaton, and he gets to live in a house with parents who bought his food and put a roof over his head with those jobs that they had. Now, if they didn't have that, where would he have been? Who knows? I guess he figures that he pull himself up by his diaper straps. He'd do it all on his own. I guess.
Yeah, because
Uh,
he carried a briefcase to school. Remember those?
yeah,
Remember
children
kids
do
like
that.
that?
Yeah, and it's like, why? I mean, if my child wanted to do it, I wouldn't let him. It's like, she got old enough to be able to defend yourself.
I knew a kid that did that. He had a
Yeah.
brief, and he did it, and it really is cosplay.
Yes, it really is.
It really is
'Cause-
cosplay.
So what meaning does that have to other children or
I'm
teachers
telling
or
you
anyone?
that I'm telling you that I'm not like you. That I'm
Mhm.
like, somebody I saw on television, because
Yep.
it's really the only thing I had to distinguish myself is this
Mhm.
cosplay thing.
Yeah. 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 That's true.
Well,
I have
it's
other
kind of like
things.
the scene at the beginning of can't think of the name of the movie, but it was Holly Hunter and Albert Brooks and the late William Hurt, and they were
Broadcast
showing
news.
how they broadcast news and how they were
Mhm.
coming up. And after Albert Brooks makes this condescending valedictorian speech, they beat him up outside the auditorium. And as he's bloodied and pulling himself off the ground, he is saying that these guys are going to have such a nothing life that they will never have a job paying them more than $10,000 a year. And
Mhm.
as he's living away, one of the guys that beat him up says, $10,000? That's not bad.
Wow. Wow.
Right.
Wow. So
Right.
there you go. You know
Yeah.
what people aspire to, and then he'll be happy. I mean, I was watching this what is it's a J drama, was a comedy. And I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head, but basically, there's this woman, and she smartly dressed. She in this business. She walks the hallways. She is like, the type of person you're like, wow, she's got it going on. And it's about her from the perspective, the children, her from the perspective of her coworker who comes in the same year that she does, and he's, knows the stuff, really smart, and she is a know nothing. She knows absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. She knows how to wear the clothes, almost like being there. When she says something, people think she's saying something else, but she really doesn't know what she's talking about. And by the time, they kind of realize that she is a complete bubblehead and does not understand anything, well, it's kind of too late, because she's already hired and she's already in the process. So it was interesting how this guy is the opposite. He is not so together, but he does know everything. And he just complains about this how unfairness, and then finally realizes, if I got to stay here, I need a new plan. And his new plan was to make her his partner. He said, because people will listen to her, they won't listen to me. So if I get her to be my partner and we go places together as a duo, and she opens the doors, and eventually she can turn the program over to me, and I can explain it so we can get these contracts. And so that's what they did. They worked together and they got these contracts. And finally, he kind of, you know, had to come to Jesus with her and say, why is it that you really aren't looking for promotion or this or that? She said, well, when I was young, I was watching television and I saw this woman, and she's wearing this outfit, these people at this job, and they look so cool and slick. And that's what I wanted to do, to get up every day and get dressed, and come to the job and be there and sit at the computer. And so he realized he was living her dream. Who was he to complain? This was what she aspired to, and she had made it. He did not make his, but she
Mhm.
had made hers. So who was he to complain? So it was kind of cool because he finally realized, what am I complaining about? She is exactly where she wants to be. She has earned the spot that she wanted, doing exactly what she wanted to do. I really enjoyed that. I wish I remember the name of the course because it's in Japanese, but I'll find it and try to post it. But it was really, really kind of good. Because at first you're like, this is not right. She doesn't know anything, like how to use a computer. She really didn't know. Like she just kept putting up those things of kittens, those cat videos. Stuff. It's crazy, but that's what she wanted to do. So I
Well,
thought it was
it's
good to get
about,
paid
isn't it
for it.
about branding? It's about
Yes,
branding too,
yes,
right?
isn't it? Isn't
So
it?
I mean, liberals. What's a liberal brand? I mean, the conservative brand, right?
Well, you're poor. That's the first thing they want to say. If you're liberal, you're poor.
Yeah,
Correct?
you can't be unless you're like George Soros. You're
Yeah.
rich and also evil. You're like evil on the side of just trying to under the Jewish meme that they
Space
have,
lasers,
right?
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but if you're like conservative, the brand is the William F.
But the thing
Buckley,
is,
Alex.
but this is the thing. This is the problem. If you are a conservative, you are allowed to be evil. It's like it's presumed that you get to be evil. It's like
Yeah, it's
that
baked
thing. I
in.
told me that thing I was saying where they said that a black woman could not be nice, not described as nice, back in the 40s, 50s, because you were required to be nice to white people.
Yeah.
You didn't get the option to not be nice. So nice for you dealing with them was baked in. You didn't have a choice but to be nice. So there's no such thing as a nice black woman because nice is baked into who you are,
Right.
right?
Right.
Same thing, with this evil, with conservatives, greedy with conservatives. Well, it's baked in, so they get to be that way, right?
Yeah,
Because
and
that's
and
that's
you
the
and you look
definition,
at
right?
look at the two brandings. I mean, or
Mm-hmm.
three branding. You have the current president, and you have Musk, who's in the White House. They're not dressed the same.
Mm-mm.
Well, there
Now,
was I think it was, I forget who somebody on MSNBC, and he was showing this picture saying that this shows you who is really in charge of things, because he said that he had learned years ago, he said when he was at some party, and they had this guy who was a billionaire back in the day there, and said everybody else there was wearing some form of business attire, even if it was nothing more than a blazer and slacks and everything. But everybody was wearing a tie, except the guy who was hosting the party, who was the richest person in the room, who came in wearing a T-shirt. And he said, if you looked at that picture of all of those people in the Oval Office, and you would think
Mm-hmm.
you would wear a tie even just because you were in the Oval Office.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy shows up wearing a T-shirt over a jacket and jeans, and with a kid. And so you break
and a
this,
cap, some sort of cap, some
yeah,
sort of baseball cap or something on his head.
and
Mm-hmm.
you break just about every rule of decorum and everything and stuff. But it shows you who really is calling the shots, who is the person who is really entitled.
Yeah, and the thing that's so sad to me is that this is the president of the United States. It's the Oval Office. Nobody should be able to be photographed, videoed in the Oval Office dressed like that. I mean,
Hmm.
to me, it's just like, showing his ass
But he
to
was.
the public, the U.S., the people of the United States.
But that's the brand.
And it's like, the
That's
thing
the.
is, to me, it's like that, it's like Donald Trump doesn't even have enough um, respect for the people of this country, or respect for himself as president of the United
Well, the
States,
thing is,
which requires
he
that you
built
can't
a.
come in here without dressing. Period.
Well, well,
Hmm.
Trump and conservatives, Republicans, have built their brand, and Musk is on that Silicon Valley brand, and he's not gonna.
Hmm.
Trump couldn't wear that
Hmm.
because that's not his brand.
But the thing
And
is,
he's
I
not
don't care
gonna
what your
go off.
brand is.
He's not
I
gonna go
don't care
off
what your
brand.
brand is. You come into the Oval Office, it's like walking into church. You
Hmm.
dress right. You are standing here in the Oval Office with the American people, our people's house. You dress correctly
It's
when
not
you
my
enter the
brand.
people's house. I don't
It's not
care.
my
Then your
brand.
brand needs to stand outside, and
Well, I'm
we
just
can film
saying.
you from the Rose Garden or something.
But
When you
it's
go to the
what
Oval Office, you need to put your clothes on and
what's what
dress like
Cranston
normally.
said.
Put that
What Cranston
little.
said. I
Mhm.
mean, who gets to, whose brand is strongest?
Hmm.
Which brand is strongest? Right?
I mean, the thing is, to me, it's not the issue just whose brand is strongest. It's that you're president of the United States, and someone is visiting you in the Oval Office. You say, "Where's your suit?" I mean, I have been in court where you have a judge, and somebody comes in and they're not dressed correctly, and they say, "You're not coming up here dressed like that,"
Yeah,
you
but you
know.
didn't. You're not paying to be there in that case. Musk paid to be there. He
Yeah.
knows who
I
is
don't
in
care, but you know
charge.
what? It doesn't matter whether you pay to be there. It's like when you go to church, you're not going to go in there in a bikini.
Yeah, but
I mean, you
I
pay you
think
pay
what
your tithes, but you're not going to
you're
come in
missing,
dressed like
Yeah,
that.
but if you
you
built, you paid for the church to be built. You paid for the
Hmm.
church. You're paying the pastor. You're
Then
going
I
to
say
dress
this.
however you want.
No, I
you
said
you're
if you want to do
missing.
that, then build a cabana at the
No, you're
This
missing.
way, say church.
You're
Build a
missing.
cabana at the beach. Huh?
No, you're missing why he's doing it. The
I
point is
understand
why he's
why.
doing it.
I
So the
understand
question is,
why.
he's not. Yeah, he's not going. No one's going to force a dress code on it. We all know. We all know that no one should dress like everyone in the world in this country knows it. Everyone knows it, and that's why he did it that way. And that's why he did it to show the disrespect.
That's right.
He's allowed to do it. He's allowed to do it.
And the disrespect
He's
for the
allowed to
American
do it.
people.
And so the
And
thing is,
the thing is like, if nothing should tell you that Trump should be out of the White House, it's that.
Hmm.
If you
well,
want this man to disrespect you, that's fine. That's your
I
business.
paid. I
But
paid
you
to be
don't
in
even.
position.
I know you all keep saying that as if it has any meaning to me, and it doesn't. The thing that's meaning to me is that you're the president of the United States. This guy let him do whatever else he wants. That's fine, and he can disrespect you all he wants. But the last thing that you have, that last line to cross, you do not let him disrespect the American people, and
Well,
that's
But
it.
Trump
it's
doesn't care about
basically
that either.
I
Well, apparently
paid
not, and that's why he shouldn't be president.
I paid to disrespect you. So
Well,
it's like
you paid to
a
disrespect me,
hooker.
so no,
It's like a hooker.
he
It
paid to
is.
disrespect Trump,
I paid to
and
disrespect the American people. I paid to disrespect this office,
well, yeah,
and I got he shouldn't have access to it.
no, and the
Otherwise,
thing is, and
why
what my
would
problem
somebody have
is,
access to
all
the
these
Oval?
Republicans who fucking complained about Barack Obama wearing a tan suit or
Exactly,
wearing a fucking pin, the wrong size or something, or the wrong lapel, some crazy shit, and they don't say anything. My
exactly,
God, you know what? I
exactly.
mean,
Because they don't want all that wealth being turned against them.
I'm sorry.
And
They
that's
need
the
to.
They're for
that's the
sale.
pinnacle of greed.
I mean,
I don't
look
want
at the
it to
look at the
backfire on me.
lawyers. You know, lawyers take an oath. We take an oath, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the lawyers who said they were going to dismiss all of the January 6th, part number one
Mm-hmm.
pardon, right? The pardon for the president of the United States to apply to all the January 6th offenders, and to
Mm-hmm.
have Eric Adams' case dismissed
Mm-hmm.
without prejudice. Lawyers take an oath, right? You take an oath,
Mm-hmm.
and you're for sale. You are for sale.
Mm-hmm.
You have a price tag on you. And
Yeah.
so if you have that price tag on you, you can call it disrespect and unethical behavior, but some people have price tags.
And they didn't become attorneys or doctors or whatever it is, politicians, for the purpose of doing that job. They became those things because it just is a job. They may as well be flipping burgers.
Yeah, stick to
If
something.
you paid them the
Yeah,
same amount to flip a burger, they take that job too. Because
exactly.
it's, or unless they have to sit there in a certain type of clothing. I don't know what they would do. I have no
Exactly.
idea.
And we pay public servants a certain, salary, and then we say, well, your public is not for is not for the money. You're there for the dedication to the public. And then we have people who are for sale. Because if you compare this to the Watergate, the
Mm-hmm.
Saturday Night Massacre, as they called it back in
Mm-hmm.
Watergate, when Nixon went to his attorney general and said he wanted him to fire the special counsel, the
Mm-hmm.
special prosecutor, they said no, and he kept going down the line, and they said no. Remember that, Penelope? Remember
Mm-hmm.
that? And so it's like no, no, until he got to Robert Bork, who said, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. And that's how he got his federal bench.
Yeah, that's the price you pay. You pay
Mm-hmm.
that price.
Yep.
The price paid for. You bought and sold it.
But that price he paid only got him so far because he did it. He would never make it to the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
well, you know what? He was
He
up.
didn't
He
make it.
was up for. He was up
But
for.
that yeah, but I
Yeah, but
think
he didn't
that
make it.
he didn't
But
make it because of that.
and another guy paid was bought and paid for. He's there.
Mm-hmm.
Several
Bought and paid
people on
for it,
the
yeah.
on the Supreme Court of the 9 justices had price tags.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're priced, and so
It's a shame.
you have the Attorney General of the United States, who basically went on Fox News and dog walked the mayor of New York City
Mm-hmm.
because he had a price. He said if he does, he said almost literally, word for word, if he does not do the things that we want him to do, we bring this case back against him.
Which, in all honesty, and this I talked about, and we're a little bit off topic, probably gonna finish on this off topic. We talked about it, and I said just since he was being uh charged, and they said it was without prejudice, meaning they could bring that suit again. Then why didn't the person say sure? The first person they asked, they should have said, "Yeah, I'll sign it," because that means that they could bring the case again at any other time. I read this or listened to this interview this woman was given. Unfortunately, I'm terrible with names. I can't remember her name, but she was saying that when Hitler came to power, they think, okay, he went after all his enemies. I said, but we didn't go after his enemies first. The people he went after first were the true believers. So these were the people who believed that, Nazism would actually be a form of socialism. Union leaders and individuals like that. Those are the first people they went after. They went after the Mensheviks, people who were in government, who some of them actually supported their cause, but they thought what they thought the cause was, and those people, those true believers, are the ones that got rid of first, so that everybody that's left is the people who will do your bidding. And this is the problem. This is the mistake that was made. Each of those people in New York who they spoke with and said, "Hey, I want you to sign this." No, I will not do this. I will not do it, until they got down to the person that would. And now they know at that point, the person that would, and maybe further down, that these people would do their bidding. All the people that were the true watchdogs, that were the rule of law people, they said, "No, I will not do this," and stepped out of the way. And they should never have done it. They didn't think it through. It was a trick, it was a trap. And now, you know, everyone who should be in place is gone. It's just
But
kind of.
what if they did this to you? You're a lawyer, right? And you're
Mhm.
U.S. Attorney's office, and they say, "Do this, dismiss this case without prejudice,"
Mhm.
and you say, based on your theory, "Yes, okay, I'll do this because
Mhm.
it's without prejudice. I can always
Yep.
bring it back." And so, and so the mayor of New York says, "You know what? What I'm doing right now is really unethical as far as letting ICE run
Mhm.
rampant through New York City. I'm not going to follow this anymore." And then you get a
Mhm.
call from the Justice Department, and they say, "Bring the case back."
Mhm.
You don't feel compromised at all?
No, because I didn't want to dismiss the case in the first place. I figured I'll get him
But the
eventually.
reason is that
I
they
said I'll get
took it
this guy
away and brought
eventually.
it back.
Yeah, I said I would get this guy eventually. I didn't want to dismiss it in the first place. So if something happens and I get him back in my hands, then I'll wait. I know he's going to mess up sometime. I'll get him.
But
Well,
the
well,
other
I
thing is
think
that the people
Mhm.
who resigned to me
Mhm.
are no heroes. I
No,
don't
they're
see them as
not.
no heroes.
They're not. Like again, they are their true believers, not ours. These are
Well,
their own. They're Republicans. They are the Republican true believers.
well,
You know,
I don't know if they are because they took a position in this administration which was vile to begin with.
that's
Were
what
they
I'm
really true
saying. That
believers?
these are their own people, but their own people who are following the rule of law. So when their own people, they don't want their people to follow the rule of law. They want them gone. They want people that'll just follow the word of Trump and his acolytes. That's all. These are the people that believe that there's a system and that you do things in a certain way. And, you know, they don't just say, "I'm just going to go do this thing." You still have to file a lawsuit. There still have to be warrants when you go in,
mhm.
to enter someone's home or to search their business. The rule of
So
law for these
so
people still obtains.
you can
Hmm.
hold both things, the idea of the rule of law and also the idea that the January 6th violators should be fully pardoned. You can hold both those things in your head. It's
I think,
possible.
yeah. I think because it's not, again, I'm not issuing the pardon. That is this guy issuing the pardon, not me. I'm just doing the job that I have. I'm not issuing any pardons. It was me. No, they stay in prison. I think the laws should be changed so that presidents don't get to give people pardons. But right now, the law allows that. So that's what I have to do. I that's what I think.
Well, I guess it's that thing that they always say about that you don't want people legislating from the bench. And so, if you say, "Well, I'm going to go against this," then that's you're making up new law, and they don't like that. Um,
But the thing is, by
but
the same token,
mhm.
legislating for the bench is different from prosecutorial um, from
Overreach.
prosecutorial because the prosecutor is not the judge. The prosecutor can only do their part of the job, or the judge makes the final determination. I think, though, it's like anything else. If you file a lawsuit against someone, the prosecutor, on behalf of the people of the United States, the people of New York, They file charges against the mayor, and then they are constrained to not move forward with those charges. There's nothing for the judge to do because there's no charges anymore.
Without prejudice.
Yeah, without
We should
prejudice.
tell everybody something. I mean,
Yeah.
the nakedness of the greed and the nakedness of people who are compromised. It just, I mean, it used to be like, Nixon had a secret slush fund.
Hmm.
He was, breaking into offices and putting listening devices and all that stuff and keeping it secret. He had an enemy list that was
Hmm.
secret and all this stuff. No need to do any of that anymore. You know, no need to do that anymore. And the thing is,
But I
that's
think,
go ahead.
but I think something we talked about, years back. This concept of people being led by their better angels, and if you have an election process that basically is, just I mean, for wanting better is just what is that a popularity contest, right? Then
Mhm.
I mean, I could run a dog then, and popular dog could win, right? Because it's now just become a popularity contest. Because they're and again, you have the issue regarding our media, and you have foreign entities running U.S. media. You've got Murdoch is not the United States from Australia. He's not an American, and he doesn't have any American interests. So you're handing over our media to foreign interests.
But
Then you have some, absurd individual, tromping
but you're
around
talking
in the Oval
facts, though,
Office. Hmm.
Penelope. You're talking facts as opposed to the years. If you're talking like the topic of the show, family ties. You're talking, what
Hmm.
year was that? Like 1970, not 1980 or
80, about
something like that.
1980-ish.
Like that. You're talking about like 45 years of branding that
Yeah.
took place. 45 years. A lot of people who voted in this election weren't even born yet. So that's all they see is, liberal, progressive, weak and bad, conservative and rich, good.
But the thing
That's
is,
a
I guess the
that's
problem is that we have that problem of back in the old days, at least we thought with the media that people would not be able to tell lies. But when the news became not just telling us what the news was, but trying to make it to a profit center, that's what caused this. Now they want to make money with news, so they have to tweak it, make it entertaining, say things that people, make these things oppositional, so people will watch their news programs. And in order to make things oppositional, of course, you have to stretch the truth, because more people are in the middle than they are on either end. But to tell people you got to be at this end or this end, it's complete
you're
oppositional.
bleeding heart liberal, like the parents or family tell you're bleeding hard, and you just want to give everything away to people because they're sad and they don't have any money. And it's a
Hmm.
public broadcasting station you work for, as opposed to a network.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, but think about it. Like you say that you want to give away everything, and you're poor, and I mean that was not what it used to be. Like you said that this is a brand that came about. It was not usually that way. To
yeah. I mean, you talk about All in the Family, Archie
hmm.
Bunker, who's a conservative, right?
Hmm.
You would think that nobody wants to be him,
Right, right.
but a lot of a lot of people
But
who commiserate with Archie Bunker.
But understand this. They showed Archie Bunker to be, middle-aged, working stiff, living, in a house in Queens. Contrast this with, you know, Harvard, Yale, wherever bound young guy in high school, college, walking around with a briefcase and wearing a tie, you
And
know?
contrast that to good times where you have a black family living in a place that is rife with poverty, and all they talk about
Hmm.
is poverty and being
Yeah,
poor. And so I'm a new person to this country. Guess who I'm gonna lean toward?
right. And boy, if you're not that, if you walk around the world and you're not those things, then you're inauthentic. You know, that's the other thing. It's like, wow,
Mhm.
branding. You know? So, I mean, I think it's an interesting, topics. We look at these things, these icons of, the me generation and of greed is good, like I said,
Yeah,
climbing
and
Mammon's ladder,
we didn't get a chance to talk about a lot of the other conservative shows, but you talk about a show like Law and Order.
Right.
You know, who would you rather be on? The side of the prosecution, or those colored people defending other colored people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying to get them out of jail. Who would you
Yeah.
rather be?
Yeah. I mean, really, you watch these shows and they just denigrate the defense all the time. It's
Oh
that
my
all defense
God!
attorneys are
Yeah.
wicked and terrible. It's like wow, wow, what And if you watch this show all the time, then you come away with an idea of how the process works that is completely warped and absolutely untrue. So when you get to court and you're sitting there and you watch the process, if you're on someone's jury, you think that that's real. And if you think that that's real, man, then you will accept things that are unacceptable, in the process of
I
what
was
justice is supposed to be.
Penelope. I was watching F. Lee Bailey on William Buckley's show,
Hmm.
Firing Line, and Buckley was saying to F. Lee Bailey, it's a shame we have this thing about the Fifth Amendment about self-incrimination, uh, against self-incriminating statements
Hmm.
and everything else. It really slows things down, and it doesn't get to the heart of whether or not somebody's
Hmm.
guilty, and guilty people will get off because of the Fifth
Hmm.
Amendment. And
Oh my God.
F. Lee Bailey said, "Come see me after you've been indicted."
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Very good. I mean, he didn't have to say much, does he?
No,
Yeah, because after you've indicted, you want all of those safeguards in place.
you
Mhm.
And
want
in fact,
everything.
yeah, I mean, if you watch some of the BBC programs about, legal actions and they're in court, and you see why we have that. Because in British common law, you are compelled to testify against yourself. That's why we have that right of not having to incriminate ourselves. We don't have to take the stand. They have to prove we did it. We don't have to sit there and say where I was, what I was doing, because people don't always remember those things. People don't have these wonderful memories of, well, what were you watching on
Well,
October
well,
3rd? It's, I don't know.
on Law and Order, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
And so once again, if I'm a person coming from out of this country to this
Hmm.
country, I don't want to be on the side of the slimy, people who are on the side of defense, and they're almost
Hmm.
always guilty.
Yeah.
If they're not guilty, they got something else to hide. I want to be on the side of the people dressing up in nice suits. You know, they're
Hmm.
talking to the judges. They never argue with the judges. They fight for the people,
Hmm.
and the announcer says it, for the people, for the
Hmm.
people. And so that's a different brand of conservatism,
Yeah. But
but it
we
shows
should
it
do a
in a
show.
different light.
We should do a show about lawyer shows. We should do that one night. Just all law, la la. Right.
Kind
All
of
right.
boring, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be boring?
About all the legal shows? Are you kidding? There's so many good ones. There's so many bad ones, but so many good ones too. You know? I
Yeah,
mean,
let's
LA
do it. I mean,
Law, The
what's the first
Practice.
legal show? Do people even remember Perry Mason?
Yeah, Perry
Oh yeah.
Mason.
I mean,
There are
I
a lot of
mean,
legal shows.
people who are not of a certain generation, do they know what that is?
I mean, now we just
Everybody
have
knows Perry
MeTV.
Mason.
I mean, the MeTV people can, watch this stuff all the time. I think like maybe 20 years ago, less so because people didn't have all the access, but now people have access to everything. Yeah, they know all those things, I think.
Or
I
LA
would
They
think.
Law?
and they just
LA
had a
Law.
remake. They just had a remake of Perry Mason on
Yeah, but I
one of the
could not
networks.
I
Was he a
could not get
lawyer?
into it.
Yeah,
I could
Was
not
he?
get into it. I it just
He
yeah,
didn't
I
look
just did
like a
not.
lawyer. He
Yeah,
didn't look
it's
like.
like act like he's a private investigator
Yeah, it
almost.
looked
I
like a
couldn't get
private
into it.
investigator.
They should have had Paul Drake.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I look at our time. We are rolling to a close right now. So what do we have that's coming up other than me having to go to jury duty? What else is there?
Lawyer shows.
Lawyer shows me next week.
Which is
But I
why
got jury duty.
which is why you won't be chosen for the jury also.
Yeah, jury duty. Okay. I hope not. But I mean, that day then is just gone for me because I'm going to have to be in jury duty. So the day is just gone.
No, they'll call you and then they'll release you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like catch and release, like a fish.
Yeah, that's right. But I'll be there for a whole half day before they let me go. And so yeah, so I got to
They
go
give
to
you
jury duty.
$5, like $15 though.
Oh boy, give me $15. Is it just almost enough to pay my parking?
They'll ask you, do you want $15 or do you want it to donate it to charity?
I want the money. Give it to me now. That's what I'm going to say. I have my own charities. I'll donate it to the United Negro College Fund for all the United Negroes that I have in my home that need to go to college. That's what I'm donating it to. All right. Anything else? Any upcoming interesting things I said other than again me having to go to
We had last week was the celebration of the 125th anniversary of the first performance of Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Wow.
Which is why I wasn't here last week. I was taking pictures for the event, and it ran all week from that Wednesday, which was the 12th, and which was the first performance through the 16th. And they say that they're trying to get a thing that they hope to get through Congress this year to have Lift Every Voice and Sing declared the national hymn of the United States.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
But I want to see. You know what?
They were upset when they sang it at the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen.
Listen, you know what? You're such a Debbie Downer.
Yes, I am.
I want to see it tried. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I want it to happen.
I don't know if I want it to happen because I think it's a very difficult song to sing.
Well,
and it sounds like a dirge. So I mean, it's like, what?
I could never sing that song right.
I know it's not an easy song to sing. You know, it has really wide, like octaves and stuff that it's a difficult song to sing.
And by the way, Cranston didn't share any pictures. He took pictures.
He did not share them.
No, he didn't.
Because he thinks that all of us are unworthy. That's okay. Cranston, that's all right. He said, all y'all are unworthy to see my pictures.
But you know, the thing is, Sonia, some fights are worth fighting.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
Like I said, I want it to happen. I just don't want to hear the speeches of why people are saying it shouldn't happen.
I want to see it. I want people. I mean, we know what they are. I wanted to really document what they are. So come on and say what you are.
Yeah, let's see you.
Say it.
Show yourselves.
Show yourselves.
The trick would be since this was considered a hymn, that means you're against the Lord if you don't like a hymn. So
let's go to it. Let's fight.
Yeah, why not? I don't know what else to do next Wednesday, other than jury duty. So. Okay.
I think you've successfully worked your way out of serving jury duty. If anybody happens to be watching this,
I know you're already
recording.
Well, I'm a person. I just don't like the law and order. That's all.
Anybody else serving a jury besides me?
Yeah.
Okay.
How was yours?
I walked away going, I know the whole thing isn't supposed to be like law and order, but the prosecuting attorney should not put the jury to sleep with her summations.
Okay. That bad, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was called once, and I was actually looking forward to serving, and I thought I would have been disqualified because it was a case of somebody had gotten the wrong medication from a drugstore, and it caused them hearing loss. And I worked with somebody that had happened to, and I thought I would be prejudiced in favor of my coworker. But I think the real reason that I was excused was because they can't ask you what your political views are. So what the defense had done was they very cleverly said, well, how do you get your news? Just to hear what news
Mhm.
people watch. And there were like 40 of us that were chosen in the group. And I was the only person who said, I got my news from NPR.
Ah,
Yep.
Most of the people, even a lot of the black people, said they got all their news from Fox.
wow.
I got
Wow.
disqualified because I worked for a TV station and they assumed that I worked for one of the stations that aired news.
Oh,
And it
wow.
turned out to be a fight between a KKK and a black civil rights activist down the block from my house. And I didn't know about it because I was too busy working at the TV station that didn't have news.
Mm.
Wow. Isn't that something? You missed out.
Yeah, I sure did. I wanted to see that fight.
Yeah, that sounds
I
like a
can
good fight.
imagine.
Yeah.
Right. Anybody else got their jury duty? I mean, I go in, I say, well, I do not believe in this, that, and the other thing. Don't want to do this. Hate everybody. Can I go now?
And they'll pick you.
Can I go now? No, I didn't get picked because I'm an attorney.
Well,
They
Well,
don't
there's
want.
I got
They don't
chosen.
want attorneys. A lot of times they don't want attorneys in the room.
I was chosen for a jury. I was surprised.
I almost got chosen once, but then I got kicked at the last minute.
I was
I
I,
do not want to be chosen.
I was chosen. I was the only black person on the jury. Maybe that's why
Wow.
they didn't think I would like. They couldn't Batson me. You know the Batson
Yeah, they
thing.
want to bats in you.
And so I was on there, and I think that um, let me say this: white people are more conservative than we think they are.
Hmm.
shocked. I'm shocked to hear that.
Yeah, I mean the stuff you hear on Fox News is nothing compared to what they'll say in the privacy of a jury room.
Wow.
It's not like seek Heil or anything like that. It's just it's the ignorance and just the what they know about black people or people other than themselves is
Very
is
limited.
shocking.
Diversity challenged. That's what somebody used to call it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's not even an appropriate word for what I heard. It's more than that. It's much more than that.
Wow. Hmm. Well, that said, I guess we can all go home and cry now. Yes, we get to go home and cry now. I
But
want.
I believe in the jury system though. I think it's I think it's a good system, and I think juries come out making the right decision for the most part, if given
Really?
the right,
If they give the right
if
information.
if given the right instructions by the judge,
Yeah.
which a lot of people miss. They never show on TV the jury instructions, which are probably
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing that a jury takes back with it.
Yeah. What it is that the judge will allow you to consider.
They never show that on television. We could talk about it next week, but they never show it on television.
Yeah.
It's
Legal shows.
boring, but it's the most important part.
Yeah. They allow you to consider.
And lawyers fight over that. Lawyers
The jury
fight.
charge. Yeah. All right. That's about it. All done today. Everybody have a nice remainder of your weekend. We're back again next week and we're going to talk about the law. So take care of yourselves. Stay warm in these cold places. If you're warm already, we envy you. Um, talk to you again next week. Good night. Good night.
Good night.